Hey, what's going on, guys? Bearman here. Thought I would take this opportunity to make another video. I know it's been a while since I have posted anything on this channel, but Phase 6 is out and about, and I have gotten a few pieces of gear that I kind of want to talk about. Talk about what you should be wearing in Max, whether it's, DPS or tanking, maybe talk a little bit about talents, offset pieces, and just generally what it's like to play a Feral Druid in Phase 6. So just to go over my gear a little bit. So this right here is going to be my, you know, threat set, I like to call it. I tried to go for a balance of, offensive and mitigation items. So Guys of the Devourer, right here, Onyxia Tooth Pendant. Honestly, I don't have Mark of Cthulhu yet, so usually, it obviously doesn't have any offensive stats other than hit. But with that being said, 24 stam, 10 defense, dodge, and hit. It's a pretty powerful trinket or necklace. And so, I probably would replace Onyxia Tooth Pendant in this set with Mark of Cthulhu, but at the same time, of course, this is going to be a mitigation item. Mantle of Wicked Revenge, Grip Fiend, Silk Cloak, Ghoulskin Tunic, Karachi Execution Bracers, Gloves of the Hidden Temple, Karachi Hide Belt. Just got these last lockout, actually. Leggings of the Apocalypse, Boots of the Shadow Flame, and then I wear the Signet of the Bronze Dragonflight and Circlet of Applied Force with Beautiful Kiss of the Spider DFT combination. Of course, Karachi Warhammer with my Book of Eights here. And that I would generally consider to be like my threat set. So in bear form, I've got just a little under 11,000 armor, a little under 6.5k health with about, I don't know, let's take the buffs off. 1100 attack power, 1400 health or armor. It's not too bad. And then this would be more of what I consider to be my mitigation set. So you can see health went up by a good amount there, 6.8k now, 11.6k armor. So the few things, key pieces that I changed there, my neck went to the pendant of the Karachi Guardian. This is pretty much just because I don't have Mark of Cthulhu. That's what I would be wearing here. And it would allow me to swap out, for instance, maybe, I don't know, maybe my ring, maybe my boots, something like that, just because right now I have 9% hit, and so I could get that hit from the necklace and kind of adjust my gear from there. But mitigation wise, these shoulders here, the Arathi Basin Exalted Reputation shoulders, are going to be your best in slot when it comes to armor and just general like mitigation in bear form. The cloak, of course, the Ghoulskin Tunic, those two are going to stay the same. Bracers, weapon stays the same. Trinkets, I added this ring here, the Signet of the Fallen Defender, also one that I just recently got, but 140 armor, 24 stam, and 1% hit. It's a pretty easy pick for a mitigation set, especially as a Feral Druid. I kept the Signet of the Bronze Dragonflight on just for that DPS and agility. Boots of the Shadow Flame, Sentinel leather pants. These are going to be the pants that you get from Exalted with the Silverwing. So that's Warsong Gulch, Karachi Head Belt, and the Gloves of the Hidden Temple again. One thing that I would mention, for instance, if I did have Mark of Cthulhu here, like I was mentioning, I might switch around a few pieces. So for instance, on a boss like Patchwork, I'm really trying to maximize my amount of health. And so there are a few pieces where they may not necessarily be best in slot for me, like with this setup that I have. There's something that you might want to keep in mind. So for boots, the one I'm thinking of is the Hive Tunneler's boots. I'd probably enchant these ones with stamina, because I've already got minor speed on my Shadow Flame, which are going to have a lot more armor. But of course, these have 30 stamina, and so that's nothing to scoff at. And because of that, puts me a little under the hit cap, and so I'd still have 8% hit if I had Mark of Cthulhu on right now, and I think that's probably okay if mitigation is what you're looking for. Aside from that, when it comes to tanking sets, there's a few things. Let's see. So just as kind of like parts that you can interchange out for some of these ones that may be a little harder to get. You know, I don't think it'll be too hard for you to get your hands on these glove and belt just because they're not necessarily too good for other classes. In terms of gloves, though, of course, the PvP set is going to be an option. There are, you know, a few pieces in that PvP set that are pretty good. So, you know, gloves, maybe the legs, the marshal's legs. There are, of course, you know, hit is kind of hard to get as a Pharaoh Druid. So there are some pieces. I know there's a pair of gloves from CG with 2% hit on them. There's also the Panther Hide gloves, I think they're called. They give some good stats and crit. Those are all options. This ring is just from the Exalted with Brutal Norse Damu. Quick Strike ring, Don Julio's, Circle of Applied Force. There's a lot of different rings out there, you know, even something like Master Dragon Slayer ring, just to get those offensive stats and, you know, that hit percentage. You know, obviously these trinkets aren't something that you can always expect. But really when it comes to tanking, I mean, these two pieces here are threat-based pieces. Everyone knows that Mark of Tyranny and Smoking Heart of the Mountain are going to give you the most amount of mitigation that you can receive out of your trinket slots as Pharaoh Druid. So if I go into my mitigation set, I throw on both these, my armor is all the way up to 13k. You know, without them, I'm at 11.6. It's a pretty significant amount of armor that I'm losing when I don't wear those trinkets. But with that being said, you know, there are a lot of buffs that you're going to be receiving in raid. Your armor is going to be higher, and generally speaking, especially if you're popping a stone shield potion, should be okay without having to wear both of those. Although I will say, on patchwork, I still typically do wear the Mark of Tyranny, especially for that chance to dodge. Just a little too good to pass up. I typically would take off something like, you know, one of these two trinkets. You know, it depends. The Drake Fang does give me dodge as well, which is nice, just so that you have the ability to possibly dodge a hateful strike. Next, we can go over my gear that I would wear when I'm DPSing. So, of course, you need to wear the Wolf's Head helm. Can't really, there's no way around that. You've got to have it. Basically allows you, with the combination of your talent, to receive 60 energy every time you shapeshift in. And if you time it correctly, you could see I have my timer here. My energy tick, if you time it correctly, you'll get 80, which allows for 2 shreds. And then, you know, you kind of can go from there, whether it's, you know, a ferocious bite or whatever it's going on. But that's basically the rotation. It's just going to be shifting. With the gear, I've got press stores. Of course, Ani Tooth would work here as well, but press stores is going to be best in slot. And then, well, actually, I presume there's probably some better necks. Oh, there are some good necks in Nax, of course, but I think that the raw amount of agility that press stores gives you, especially on Alliance, is just so good. You know, with King's buff and then the CG buff. Mantle of Wicked Revenge, Cloak of Draconic Might. There are a few other cloaks that you could be using other than this one, so there are 2 in a queue. Of course, the one off the boss at the end, one off Cthulhu, from the Eye quest. 26 agility, 11 strength, 15 stamina. All around, just an upgrade, I would say. I mean, you're losing, what are you losing? You're losing a little bit of strength, but you're gaining about 10 agility and stamina. So that's pretty powerful. The only other cape that I had my eyes on would be the Cloak of Concentrated Hatred. It's pretty similar to the quote you get off of Cthulhu. You get, like I said, about 10 less agility than that cloak, but you do get 1% hit. And so this is actually a pretty powerful cape. It was one that I had my eyes on before I got for tanking, just due to the 15 stamina. Before I got the Crypt Fiend Silk Cloak, I had my eyes on possibly the Cloak of Consecrated Hatred as my tanking cloak. For the chest, I'm wearing Ghoulskin Tunic, but Vest of Swift Execution is actually a really good alternative. Ghoulskin Tunic's gonna be an extra trash drop, and then this one is off Bug Trio if you do, I think it's Kree Last? Yeah, Kree Last. You can get that drop. And the way I look at it is obviously this one's providing you a flat 2% crit. This one's just giving you 41 agility. And so I believe right now the Ghoulskin Tunic is going to provide me probably all around better stats, but they're so close. You know, I think it's 0.05, yeah, 0.5% more crit, but I lose 5 attack power. Hard to say, you know. I'm losing 2 stamina, 5 attack power, but I'm getting 0.5% of crit. You know, hard to really compare the two, but the main difference when you're looking at it from a tanking perspective is going to be the armor. It's about a, you know, not exactly, but about a 200 armor difference. So this is going to be the highest armored chest in the game. It's essentially Malfurion's Blessed Bulwark from BWL, but with 2% crit on it. It's overpowered. So yeah, 40 strength, 22 stam, 40 strength, 22 stam, 2% crit, and more armor. Very good. The Karaji Execution Bracers, if you do not have these, alternative, unfortunately, if you're looking to get hit out of your bracers, is going to be from Upper Black Arc Spire the Beast. You're going to have to wear the Black Mist Ham Guards, unfortunately. They still do give some offensive stats. You know, you have strength and hit, but, you know, unfortunately, for DPS, these aren't going to be amazing. But 13 stamina isn't too bad as a tank. I was wearing those up until I got these Karaji Execution Bracers. The other thing that you could wear, risk adjusted ability, mostly DPS, but of course this could be a threat based item. 24 strength just to make your mauls hit a little bit harder, but they do only have 8 stamina. The gloves of enforcement. These are amazing. Some of the best gloves in the game. I mean, 28 strength, 20 agility. They only give 6 stam. I do sometimes wear these in my tanking set just for like threat-based gloves, just because of actually how powerful these are. But with that being said, only getting 6 stamina out of them is a pretty, you know, big bummer. And then of course, the gloves of the Hidden Temple also have some pretty good offensive stats on there. They're just missing the hit. Belts of Preserved Heads. Unfortunately, I have not seen the belt off of Cthulhu drop. That would be the Belt of Never-Ending Agony. Haven't seen it drop, so I'm stuck with the Belt of Preserved Heads. I obviously would prefer to be wearing this, but you know, it is what it is. I may even kind of work the Belt of Never-Ending Agony into my threat tanking set, probably to replace that the Karaji belt. Of course, this is going to be much more mitigation, but with that being said, the belt still provides me with 20 stamina and a lot of great stats, including hit, which, like I mentioned earlier, will allow me to swap around other pieces just to kind of, you know, mix and match all of the best pieces that I can to get the highest mitigation. Legs, we've kind of already talked about these a little bit. Leggings of the Apocalypse, of course, are going to be best in slot, but with that being said, there are a few other legs in the game that aren't too bad. So, you know, after these, the Marshal's legs are amazing. And then once you kind of get out of those, of course, I know that, you know, not everyone either enjoys or even wants to grind rank in PvP. So there are a few other legs that are pretty good. these ones here are going to be amazing. Of course, they're off a world boss, so you can't really expect too much. I've only seen these once or twice, but they are definitely a good pair of legs to have. Other than that, you're probably looking at wearing the Abyssal Leggings of Striking. These are a blue that drop off some of the dukes in, what is it? They drop off the dukes in these here. Oh, it doesn't actually show the stats on it. They give, I think it's 15 strength, 15 agility, and something else. If you get the leggings of striking. Yeah, it's in fucking Silithus. Boots of the Vanguard. These are gonna be your best in slot. Just have a ton of raw stats on them. I threw +7 agility on there just to get those up. Other than that, of course you can wear Boots of the Shadow Flame for that 2% hit. And hit is a pretty hard thing to come by as a Feral Druid, and so if you have to, that's definitely an option. Right now I'm more like an 8% hit just so that I could wear Circlet of Applied Force and not have to wear a hit ring. I just don't have enough hit percentage. So for instance, maybe if I had the cloak that I was talking about earlier off of an AQ off of Prophet Scarum, then that would put me up to 9% hit without having to use another hit ring. But with that being said, it's pretty much, I mean, it's nothing to complain about. I think 8% hit isn't going to be that big of a deal. And then, of course, Kiss of the Spider, Drakefang Talisman. And then I've been wearing End of Dreams. The reason it has the 22 enchant on it is because I was using it to flag carry. So, of course, that was the best enchant I could get for that. I probably would switch it over to Agility, just with, the scaling of world buffs and, my ability to, for instance, whether it's like popping a mana pod or innervate, whatever, my ability to get mana back during fights, as long as they're not too long. I don't really need the extra 22 intellect. I'd prefer more damage, and so yeah, but I do have 22 int on it at the moment. And lastly, I just want to look at the talents real quick. Of course, Fear, gotta have it. That's my only talent in the restoration tree. Without this, you can't shapeshift. Or power shift, I mean. And also, you don't get hardly any rage when you go into bear form then. I went with Ferocity for my first 5 points. Then 5 into Feral Instinct. 1 into Feral Charge, 3 into Sharpened Claws. And then you have kind of a free point here. You could put it into Thick Hide. You could put it into Feral Aggression. PvP wise, you could put it into Brutal Impact or Feline Swiftness. I put it into Feline Swiftness just because I do still play some Warsong Gulch, and it's nice to have that 15% cat speed. But maybe Thick Hide or Feral Aggression for that 1 point there. Improved Shred, Predatory Strikes, Blood Frenzy, Primal Fury. I'm taking them all. I want them all. And then Savage Fury, Fairy Fire, Heart of the Wild, Leader of the Pack. And in balance, 5 points, all into those Nature's Grasp talents, 5 into Natural Weapons, Omen of Clarity. And then these, at this point, I only have 2 talent points left, so I put both of them in Natural Shapeshifter. I would obviously like to get 3 points in there, but I don't think it is possible with the build that I'm doing. But what this allows me to do, you can see I don't have any points in Thick Hide. In all honesty, I don't think it's necessary. I definitely could have more armor, and I could, take less damage, but I think that at the point that we are at in Classic WoW, I have the ability to get armor from, certain pieces that make it so, Thick Hide might not necessarily be quite as worth it. If I wanted to take Thick Hide, I would either have to give up Feral Instinct, or I would have to give up a lot of my DPS talents. Those being like things like Natural Shapeshifter, Blood Frenzy, maybe even Improved Shred. Those are things I don't want to give up. Without those, I mean, I'm not tanking on every fight, and so that allows me to still provide utility for the raid in the form of damage when I'm not needed as a tank. And then if I'm not needed as damage or a tank on fights such as maybe like Saffron, I'll go ahead and I'll heal. I've got Storm Mage set that I could throw on. My End of Dreams, and I could do some healing. I've got some offhands. I don't have any rings or trinkets for healing, but that's neither here nor there. Generally speaking, that is going to cover what I wanted to go over today. Just kind of wanted to show you what kind of gear I'm rocking, kind of talents I'm rocking, and how it's been going for me. Honestly, being Feral Druid, I wasn't sure at the beginning of the Classic, what I wanted to play. And I made the game time decision that I was going to play Feral Druid, and I could not have been happier. It's been great. I've been raiding ever since phase 1, and I haven't looked back. Joining at the start of Classic, I thought about rolling a tanking class, and I could have rolled a warrior, but I wanted to kind of test the waters with the Druid. I know that they had a lot of potential, but that I wasn't too familiar with them. I didn't play private servers, and so I didn't have too much insight into what it would be like actually tanking the end game as a Feral Druid. And in reality, it's been awesome. I mean, the only thing that Feral Druids don't have is going to be those big defensive cooldowns like Shield Wall and Last Stand, Life Giving Gem. But in reality, it's not gonna be the end of the world most of the time. But I will say that having a warrior tank for progression is definitely very helpful, because those defensive cooldowns could secure you the kill sometimes where a Feral Druid may die. But with that being said, we do typically have higher armor, higher health, but no defensive cooldowns, of course. I mean, you could bark skin, but it's a sketchy game, shifting out and shifting back in. Yeah, other than that, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Peace.